Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome to another edition of Wade Watches. And today I'm going to be talking about what is arguably the biggest movie of the year, and all the more so, even more so, probably what is arguably the biggest movie of the decade. That's right, it's finally here. The sequel to the 2009 original, Avatar: The Way of Water. Boy, this movie is a long time coming. 13 years in the making. We've all heard the buzz about how big of a budget it has, and how innovative, how technologically innovative it is, and all that good jazz. James Cameron has been very forward and very verbose in, how much he's enjoy making this movie, and how his vision for the world of Pandora and this franchise. He's been very forward about it, and very blunt, to the point of probably saying a few things that are actually quite rude. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about the actual movie because I finally saw it. I have kind of been waiting for, like many of you, I've been waiting for a sequel to the first Avatar, A Return to Pandora. I ran out to see it in IMAX 3D first chance I got, and it let me down. I'll cut straight to it. I don't like it as much as the first one. The first Avatar, it's a classic in my opinion. I know it's divisive. I know some people say it's not memorable, the story is derivative, but it's an enjoyable movie for me. I felt that it told a very it managed to execute a very derivative story in a very innovative and original way, in my opinion. Yes, it's a fish out of water story. Yes, it's a story of a white man with the natives. But it was done in a very clever and very visually appealing way, and it still holds up. But that's the first one. This one, on the other hand, all style, virtually no substance. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. It's this movie. This should come as a shock to no one. It's beautiful to look at, especially in IMAX 3D. It was like, I can't even describe the feeling of actually looking at Pandora. I haven't been this in love with the look of a movie since seeing Dune in IMAX last year. This movie looks gorgeous, but that's about all the good I can say about it. I really loved looking at it. The action was really well done, but the story just didn't resonate with me. The story's not terrible, and there are some good moments here, but I felt that story-wise, writing-wise, everything paled in comparison to the original. I definitely felt like they spent more time and effort into making this movie look beautiful, into expanding the lore of the planet Pandora, than they did with telling a compelling story that I could get behind. So, and it does try, because the main thing with this one is that now Jake and Neytiri now have a family. They are now parents, and therefore they have to be, extra careful and extra vigilant now, because they have a family to care for. And the sky, not to give away the entire plot, but the sky people are back, and now they're in trouble. Now they have to fight the sky people, while also learning the way of water. They find themselves among the water tribes of Pandora, and now they have to forge alliances with them to hopefully thwart the sky people once again. And that's all the plot I'll give you. And again, not terrible, but it was disappointing to me. It was really disappointing. This movie centers more on Jake and Neytiri's children than it does Jake and Neytiri, and the only one that I even remotely resonated with was Loke, but his story was still cliche, because he's the youngest of the two sons. He's not the favorite, and he's an outsider. He refers to himself as an outcast. And it's been done before, and it's been done better, and that goes for all the Sully children, and they also make friends with some of the kids from the Water Tribe. I just didn't find myself caring all that much about them. I felt like they were all kind of just a trope that were there to be that trope. You know, the oldest son is there to be kind of the dutiful son who is kind of a clone of his father. You know, the perfect son, the favorite son. You know, Sigourney Weaver's character, who's, you know, one of Jake Sully's daughters. They brought her back to play that daughter. She's kind of there to be, you know, kind of, you know, the freak who can do something that nobody else can do. Again, they call her a freak. She calls herself that, all that stuff. And the youngest kid, who Jake Sully's youngest daughter, she's there to be cute. There are literally a lot of times where the whole audience was like, "Oh," that's literally all she's there for. And yeah, that's it. So yeah, they weren't at all relatable, and they're kind of, yeah, they are pretty much the main focus. Yeah, Jake and Natiri and pretty much everybody else, like they bring characters back from the first one, they get sidelined. Um, and I kind of didn't like, on the note of Jake and Natiri, I didn't really much care for Jake Sully. The way he kind of treats his kids for most of this movie wasn't a fan of it. Sorry, you know, y'all can, if anybody wants to, you know, counter me on that, go ahead. But you know, that's what I saw. You know, I didn't like the way he treated his kids, and it wasn't like it was ever really resolved. Yeah, Jake's kind of a Jake's kind of a jerk to a couple of his kids in this movie, and I wasn't there for it. And there's something that Natiri herself does that I also was like, wow, really? So yeah, there's kind of a mean streak with the protagonist in this movie, and you know, that's what I took from it. You know, y'all can counter me and say, oh, they had to do that, they had to be like that. I'm sure. Somebody would argue they had to be that way, and to an extent, I can see why they had to be that way and why they had to do some things. But I don't know. Character wise, I didn't much care for it. Sorry. Yeah, if I had to say one positive thing about any of the characters in this movie, I would say that Stephen Lang, who returns as the villain Quaritch from the first movie, if you remember the army guy from the first movie, he's back, and he's a better villain in character here, definitely hands down, than he was in the original movie. So that's something that's an improvement from the original. That the villain, much better character, much more compelling. They do something with his character that makes you go like, oh, okay, you know, new dimension, new depth. And once again, Pandora looks beautiful. The seas are gorgeous to look at. But other than that, not really much I enjoyed. It's all style, no substance. Wouldn't really recommend seeing this if you don't see it in IMAX 3D. I wouldn't say you need to rush out to theaters to see this. See Wakanda Forever again. Much better movie in my opinion. But this, you know, it's pretty, but so what? And yeah, it kind of makes me apprehensive about returning to the world of Pandora. Like if James Cameron can't, you know, step up his writing game or hire better writers, I don't think we need to see any more of this world. As is the case with many movies, big movies. The first one kind of did have a perfect ending that tied things up in a neat bow, but then it made a bajillion dollars and became one of the highest grossing movies of all time. So yeah, sequel, of course. And plus, it's something, once again, that we all know that director James Cameron's wanted to do for a while. And obviously, this movie ends so that to set up for a sequel, that's not a spoiler. We all know he wants to make like 10 more of these, but you know, wouldn't kill me not to see another one. So, wrapping it up, I give Avatar: The Way of Water a 6 out of 10. All style, no substance. It's beautiful to look at. It really is. Especially in IMAX 3D, it is a wonder to behold, but that's not enough. You have to give me a compelling story, too. So, this was a letdown. You know, see it for yourself. See it for yourself. See what you think. You might just, you know, I'm sure you'll disagree with me. You might get something more out of it. I'm sure you will, because it seems to be getting relatively decent buzz. Haven't heard anybody call it a masterpiece or anything like that, but people aren't hating this movie, so I guess I find myself, you know, against the flow with this one. I just didn't enjoy it as much. So, yep, once again, 6 out of 10 for Avatar: The Way of Water, and I'll see you all next time.